So I'm Dan from 99.8 FM KC and I'm joined by
Mal from Don't Cross the Line.
So some of you know Mal, obviously this is his channel, but as I said, I'm from KC and you announced the partnership on one of your shows recently. Yes. First of all, obviously we're broadcasting this as well on KC. For those listeners, tell us a little bit about how you began.
Wow, that's a excuse me, that is a question I have because we put it all over the website and what have you. How we began was in 2003, Dan. I used to be on a committee not far from here between Liverpool and Everton Football Club, which is Stanley Park. And we used to run teams, we used to get things going, make sure that kids were off the streets playing the games. And it's what you witnessed in 2003. There was actually no governing bodies protecting referees, no governing body protecting the kids on the football pitch, no governing bodies involved in grassroots football basically. It was all about themselves and they didn't give two hoots about what was happening in grassroots football. Now me running the league with fellow committee members, you witnessed it week in, week out, which was verbal abuse. We actually saw parents fighting on the touchline in front of under 10-year-olds. We saw baseball bats being used, threatened. This is going back those early days, and you just have enough. And what tipped the point for me was when we witnessed a game, under 14s match, we were walking around, and I actually noticed a referee running. Okay. Now the referee was running for his life, basically, being chased by parents and being chased by under 14-year-olds. Now this was the story that obviously has been, it's all over the website and it's been taken up by Sky Sports, you name it, everyone. And this was the turning point for me. I just had enough to see what was going on in grassroots football. It was a free-for-all. Two teams, under 14s, fighting each other, parents arguing, parents wanting to fight the referee, kill the referee, basically.
And this went just because of a game? This was
this was a game. Okay. This was a game of football, and obviously because the referee gave a decision, well, why the two sets were, it's normally a referee will give a decision, blow the whistle, and it's one side agrees, the other side doesn't. That's the way grassroots football goes, and unfortunately the referee becomes a target, and that's gone on for many, many years. Now this was a game being played, a league game, and when we witnessed it, we couldn't stop. The next thing we witnessed was all the kids fighting each other. So the referee ran to the container. Committee members tried to stop him, to help him, to stop parents getting into him, which they managed to block the doors and save the referee. Some of these parents are really, really angry, and honestly, if that referee had stepped foot out of there, I shudder to think what would have happened. Now, you'd ask me what made me get started. The other incident I witnessed was when we saved the referee and the police were called, who obviously unfortunately then did not turn up, was two of the opposition players. One, I noticed a youngster fall to the floor, while the other youngster come after him from the opposition team, raising his boot, which were metal studs, towards his head. He was about to stamp on the kid's head. And I raised my voice to the top, the highest pitch I could have possibly done, just by shouting, hey. And he froze, and thank God I did that, because the kid on the floor rolled away and got away and just started running. I shudder to think again what could have happened to that child if I wasn't there and I'd done that. This was frightening. This is how we started. I went home then. I said to a referee who was on the touchline, this is no good. Something's got to be done here. We have to protect not just you referees, but the kids on the football pitch as well. From the parents, from irate parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, whoever attend grassroots football. And I went home and I actually wrote, 3 o'clock in the morning, it was all in my head, I wrote a campaign and I just wanted to call it Don't Cross the Line. It was an unbelievable name, it was just in my head and everything was described what I wanted to do.
Because it's in a moment of a game, as you said, you can kind of lose your temper. You know what kids are like, especially teenagers, or you've got all them emotions coming in, not knowing how to control them. Fast forward now, you started Don't Cross the Line. How did the structure of the non-leagues come about, grassroots football, yourselves being heavily involved in that? Where did it start changing for you after you made Don't Cross the Line?
Well, that's when it started changing. On that day I went home and I wrote exactly what I wanted to do in the campaign. And 48 hours later, that was all into print, and I decided to get in touch with Everton Football Club, and I gained a meeting in there, and also I managed to gain a meeting at Liverpool Football Club within the space of 2 days. Everton in the community got me in there, and a chap called Dave Connor, he was brilliant. He took me in there, made himself a cup of coffee. I sat on the chair and he went, "Can I just say to you, we have hundreds of people coming in. We like to see people, but we can't promise you anything." So I said to him, "Well, I think you need to look at what I've got wrote down here, because I think it needs change in grassroots football." Anyway, Dave took over the paperwork and he went, yeah, I'll have a quick look at it. And as he was making his cup of coffee, he started slowing down and flicking the pages. He got to about page 5, turned round and said, "Mal, is it?" I went, "Mal, it is." He went, "Would you like a cup of coffee?" I turned round and went, "Well, yeah," because I was wondering why he didn't offer me one in the first place, being Everton Football Club. He said, "I normally let people have a rabbit on for 5 minutes," he said, "and then we finish it, because it's just not good enough."
It's not going anywhere, yeah.
This was totally different. He made me a cup of coffee, we sat down for an hour and a half, and within that hour and a half, he came on board. When I had my meeting with Liverpool Football Club, they looked at it, they said, "This is going to go worldwide, this is unbelievable, we'd like to get on board with this." So from the word go, Liverpool and Everton Football Clubs have been on board, and it was never looking back then. Once you've got 2 Premier League clubs on board supporting you, then the county FAs come on board, then the FA come on board, and I was lucky enough to get presented with a trophy in 2009. It was His Royal Highness Prince William with the FA. It was amazing. It was a FA Cup final. They invited me down there, and I just couldn't take it in on that day, because I don't really like the credit that you get for doing something that...
You just like the doing part?
Yeah, and you know, I was recognised, and since then, as I say, I've never looked back. We've been on Sky Sports, radio with yourself, Radio Cities, our local stations, Merseyside, and we've been right across the board, because we've now gone nationwide, and further than that, we have the FAI from Dublin on board with us as well, so we have gone worldwide, because the MLS have taken hold of Don't Cross the Line as well.
Yeah. And going back to that time in 2003 when you made the change, when did you see the structure, obviously would you get involved, of grassroots football kind of changing? Because you had mentioned before there was no structure, there was no possible support system either for young people. Where's that now for people who are not that informed of grassroots?
Well, it made a major change. We were responsible for the FA Respect programme that they put on there as well. We were the forerunner for it, they took hold of it. They admitted to us that was our ideas, and you know, well done, we carried on, we started working together. The structure is just ongoing, it's still ongoing, because we still have certain problems. You'll see that in grassroots football, but not as bad as we had it in 2003, and obviously COVID-19 has taken over there now, so it's making a massive difference as well to grassroots football. But we still see the problems, not as bad, and there's many organisations out there who are doing exactly the same thing as us now. And the more the merrier, because at the end of the day, if everyone's doing a singing off the same song sheet, then we think that is the only way to stop bad touchline behaviour towards our referees, towards the kids in play, towards each other.
And now the governing bodies of them, grassroots football and the non-leagues, how have they got involved and helped you guys? Well,
the non-leagues, you talk about the non-leagues, what we look at grassroots when we talk about the smaller side of things. The reason we do the smaller side, which starts from under 7s, upwards to around under 15, 16 years of age, because if you go to grassroots football games, some amateur games, and have a look, then it comes into the men's football. Yeah, then you've got people who do want to change, people who just want to have a go at the referee. Referees who are tougher probably than we are at grassroots football, because kids start refereeing at under 14 years of age. So we made a beeline to look at the kids on the touchlines, the smaller kids, because more parents turn up to those games. They're absolutely chock-a-block, and those people do not adhere to the, not all of them, only the minority, adhere to the rules and regulations of grassroots football. Now we thought, once you get to under 14s, 15 years of age, those parents dwindle away. There's hardly any parents on a touchline, and anyone who's been involved in grassroots football would understand where I'm coming from here, because some parents just think when those kids go to play football, they're the be-all and end-all of football. They're going to be the new Stevie Gerrard, your Wayne Rooney if you like. They're going to be the most famous footballer in the world, because scouts are watching them. Liverpool, Everton, Man United, they're all watching, and they're thinking they're watching my child, we're going to make this. Well, they've got another thing coming, because very few and far between those kids will make it into the Premier League. There's very, very slim chance of them doing it. Anyone who's involved in that will tell you that.
Slim chance just to make it to the academy these days.
There you go. And it doesn't mean because you made it to the academy that you're going to make it to the Premier League either. So, you know, a lot of parents realise that, and when it comes to the age of 14, 15, and that child's either been released from a football club, or the child has just not been picked up, those parents tend to just let the kids go on their own, and that's how football is going, unfortunately. So when you say about the amateur, the smaller side, I think everyone will agree with me that we have to deal with the smaller side, because they are our future, and if we deal with them going upwards, it's going to be better for us in the communities, in the Premier League itself, because they'll have more respect towards the referees, towards each other, and hey-ho, in the real world.
And that brings us to your Respect campaign. Tell us how that actually began, because obviously that happened, was it a few years into after you started Don't Cross the Line?
It is, yeah. Respect, it was what happened, Don't Cross the Line, it was a fantastic word, and a lot of people, when you do something, when you come up with something, they tend to bring, or take your ideas, they tend to go, well, I'm doing this, well, it doesn't bother me, because as I say, the more the merrier, support what we do, the better it is for us all. And one day I was just sitting there, and it was, you see, all the trouble seems to come from the touchline towards the referee. As I said earlier on, the referee becomes the target, and especially the young kids as well, because they wear the yellow armbands now, under 18s, that's what it means for them. Just a reminder, a deterrent towards the parents to remind them that those kids are still at school. Anyway, because it was the referee blowing a whistle, you hear all these, I actually looked and come up with one day, I just went, respect. It just come into my head. I was writing it down, as I did with the Don't Cross the Line and all my laws, rules and regulations and what I wanted to abide with. And respect just hit out, because when I tested on a few people, they'll go, oh yeah, we know what you stand for. So I had to go and protect it there, because I didn't want anyone to take that. So I did, I protected it, we own it, and I came up with it, and since I put it into the football itself, it's been amazing. People are just loving it. The FA support it, the whole lot. As soon as you say respect, it just stands out. It's a word even the referees love as well. So you see the logo on top there, it's just unreal. That's how I came with a sister company called Respect, an anti-bullying campaign to help our referees as well. Because I got pulled once by a manager who said, why do you protect these referees? He said, because some of these referees make terrible decisions and you're protecting them, and our kids are losing games. And I said, well, just stop you there, I said, because at the end of the day, those referees are doing the job. Those referees are going out there, they may earn a bob or two, but they're not there to take the verbal abuse, the aggressive behaviour, racist comments and bullying that you're looking at to give them. I said, so when those referees go on that football pitch and they blow that whistle for a free kick, for a penalty, whatever it may be, that they've blown that whistle for a reason, what they've seen. Sometimes they don't have officials with the linesmen on the side, or lineswomen, should we say now, officials. Anyway, the reason I came and looked at that is because I could see what was happening within grassroots football. I could see that the respect needed it. And I could see why we wanted to protect the referees, is because they became the targets for these individuals, these irate parents, spectators, whoever it may be.
So it's mainly more the spectators and the parents?
Well, yeah, and also there's managers, there's coaches out there as well, you know, so they're not bloody goodies, because we always blame the parents, excuse me, but there's a lot of coaches and managers who will do exactly the same towards a referee.
What about the players' attitudes now on the pitch? Has that changed?
The kids, I think the kids are absolutely fantastic, but if mum and dad are shouting on a touchline, the verbal abuse they're showing, the aggressive behaviour towards a referee, well, they think, that's my mum and dad, they're doing that, so it's all right for me to do it. So this is why we try and put this campaign into perspective and tell them, we're educating parents again, actually. So we're educating the parents, we're educating the children, we're educating everyone who turns up to grassroots football, that it's about good behaviour, it's about supporting the kids, it's about supporting the referees, because the referees and the kids only want to develop their skills, because some of those referees, and we have on board one particular for us who wants to be a Premier League referee, female, she's only 15, she'll be 16 very, very shortly, who wants to make it into the big time, into the Premier League, and is an absolute star as well. So we want to protect those people, because they always say, why don't our referees get better? Well, they won't get better if those parents, either parents or managers, are shouting verbal abuse towards them.
No, that's, there's going to be a shortcut one day of people wanting to be referees because of the amount of level of abuse. But I wanted to touch on something you said there about supporting young people, even learning new skills. You've been big on starting projects and educating, not just kids playing football, but the ones in refereeing. Tell us a little bit about the projects you've worked on.
The projects, we've worked on that many projects, but we've got one that's really, we came up with it, which is outstanding. And Dan, I think you're going to help us out with this one, because we called it Young Commentators. And we just think that kids out there need to get something to give them, especially with COVID-19, obviously they're all locked down, we can do things on Zoom and things like that. But we started it not so long ago, and we put these kids into the test with podcast and training them with Console Online Radio. They were on board with us at first, but they've obviously gone on to move on to bigger things. Now we want to carry on with Young Commentators, and what it is, it's a project where we can actually get the kids, teach them podcasting, teach them to go out there and also commentate on a game of football within grassroots football. Now the kids are all up for it. The kids want to do it, and obviously if there's kids out there who are just on the verge of going into care, going into, they feel like no one's on their side. This is what we're aiming at there as well. We want to get them on board, and there's plenty of kids out there who've got really, really good ideas and who could make that roving reporter one day. So we saw that as, an way to get the kids involved and offer them something to give back, because many of those kids play grassroots football. And you know what, when we tested these kids, they're absolutely fantastic. And they will be the ones who are going to be interviewing professional footballers in the future, because the kids feel as if they can give something back to the communities, and they'll understand all about grassroots football behaviour from the parents, from the irate managers. And when you get them in the studio, it's amazing. They talk about it, they open up about it, and what they like and what they don't like. So we've seen something in there, because every kid loves a sport activity. They want to get involved and they want to do something. And this is giving them a change, and we believe, with your support as well, that this is going to be absolutely fantastic, because we've had a lot of interest. I put a post out last night, and I've got a lot of private messages asking, can their child get involved? Well, yes, they can. Yeah. But obviously, in the future, we'll give a little date on when we can start this. Yeah. Hopefully.
Has to be safe to do so as well.
Has to be safe to do so, yes. And as you can see,
we're following the rules.
Yes, we are, and regulations and safe distances, but we will, and the kids will enjoy it tenfold.
And obviously, as Don't Cross the Lines grew, obviously you're doing a lot on YouTube. How has the grassroots kind of reacted to your involvement in the community? Well,
they reacted really, really well, because when we go out on the touchlines and we watch games, we class ourselves as the CCTV of grassroots football, because when we're there, nothing happens, Dan, it doesn't at all. But when we can walk away, all hell breaks loose. But the banter over those 18 years we're going into now is just being absolutely brilliant, because we brought people together from the communities, we brought people together from referees societies, committee societies, everything that you name, we brought them together. And people know about us. That's why we've gone nationwide. We get messages from Sheffield and District Junior League, messages from Lostock Hall, messages from all over the country, the FAI in Dublin. Everyone's on board with us. Everyone can't say no to the work that we're putting in, week out, when the grassroots football is on, because we want to make a difference to help the kids, we want to make a difference to give the chance to young referees, and that's why we've got all football's governing bodies on board, and that's why we've got all the local county FAs on board supporting us, and especially the PGMOL, like to mention the PFA, because every year the PGMOL wear our t-shirts, our respect t-shirts, we don't cross the line, around every Premier League ground to promote the work that we're doing in their warm-ups, and the PFA support the t-shirts for us as well. So this is the way we're going through now, and people are aware of what we're doing. And you know what? It's got to be respect tenfold.
When was it? Well, I want to go back to what we started the conversation on in 2003. When was it when you were, just starting up? When was it the county FA started getting in contact with you about, the behaviour on?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because when you say when did they start getting in contact with you? No, they don't. I'll tell you a little story, because it's not just been rosy every single day. This has been 18 years of hard work, hard graft, and obviously we're established now. And it was only up till about a couple of years ago that we really got established. So it just shows you the work, the voluntary work that we put into it. Now, when you say, did they get in touch with you? No, they didn't. And there was a lad you might have heard of, Peter McDowell, who used to work at Radio City. Peter is absolutely brilliant. He's played for us on our teams, and now he's on the TV for Liverpool FC. Now Peter was in the newsroom, and he came out, he was one of the first reporters to come to my house and interview me. It was a great interview, and Peter was just absolutely, he understood football, and we got on great, like a house on fire, and he just kept following me, kept messaging me. Anyway, he got too busy, so I started messaging him and following him and ringing him in the newsroom, and I couldn't get through, and I just carried on and carried on and carried on. And the words were, one day, the news, I could hear, I can't remember the girls from the newsroom, shouting over the newsroom, Peter, it's Mal on the phone again. And all you could hear is, Jesus Christ, mate. He said, what are we doing here? So he gets on the phone, he comes over and goes, hey Mal, how much do you charge to hold a house? That was the way it is. That's the way it is. I couldn't stop laughing. And he said, don't you ever give up? I said, no. I said, I get results if we don't give up. And that's why I always say, we get great volunteers on. Teamwork is the key. This is what the message we pass out. So everyone who goes out on the touchline to watch their child playing football, make sure that you take notice of the referee. It's about teamwork, not just on the pitch, off the pitch as well. So we've got good parents, good coaches, good players, good referees. That is the part and parcel of grassroots football, and that's the way it should end. People going home with a smile on face and enjoying themselves.
And you know, looking into the future now for post-COVID times, hopefully that's soon, and you can start kind of running the events you want to run. But what's the future hold for Don't Cross the Line?
Well, being in partnership with yourselves. Exactly. There we go. What more could you ask for? Because at the end of the day, it's probably something that we've needed. You've seen the studio as well, Dan. I think you love the studio.
I do.
There you go. See, so, and it's great to have you on board as well, because we're excited. The team at DXTL are really, really excited, and our volunteers can't wait to get involved with your volunteers, working together, bringing a lot more to grassroots football. The achievements that we've achieved over the last few months as well, even getting a lottery grant with government backed as well to help out in the COVID situation. We're in the middle of doing things like that. We want to try and bring everyone to the studio to make a difference in grassroots football, to get a message to everyone out there that it's all about the kids playing football, it's all about the parents enjoying themselves and the referees enjoying themselves too. And we want to get that message out to everyone. And as I say, with you teaming up with us now, that is going to help us tenfold, because we've got all football's governing bodies who will be interested now. They'll be coming along for interviews. We've already had an ex-Premier League referee in Chris Voigt, who was interviewed by our junior referee ambassador, Olivia Henderson, which went absolutely fantastically well. But there's more interviews, and now, obviously with you on board, we can see what the attraction is going to be to all these semi-pros, pros, ex-pros, everyone who want to get involved and make a difference to our communities. We want to get more involved with the communities, and that is what the huge future holds, because we didn't give up 18 years ago, and we're not going to give up now. So we may be going another 18 years, and we are making a difference, slowly but surely. So
you'll be able to hear Mal and his team every Tuesday from 8 PM, well 7 till 8, sorry, on KCC Live. Are you looking forward to it? I'm looking forward to it, and also it's on we're having on our Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so we won't lose all our managers, all the supporters. But I've had a lot of messages as well, Dan, that people are over the moon, because there's quite a lot who listen to your programme as well. And we're over the moon on that, you know, because at the end of the day it's going to bring our listeners, our viewers up. And what more could you ask for? Because it's going to be more awareness to Don't Cross the Line, respect and grassroots football. And that's what KC Live is all about. It's about giving back to the community and being a platform for the likes of yourselves and other people to get their messages out there. And I love that I've just been interviewed in my own studio, and I'm not in the King's chair. What's going on, Dan? I know. I look better in here. It's time to get the rud in now, isn't it? Well, the rud's coming in now. I'll tell you what, we've got to meet the rud. Dan is going to say, I didn't know he's going to be part of our team as well. You've got to meet the rud. Dan, thank you very much indeed, and I think you should be saying the same to me, because you're in the King's chair, aren't you? I know, thank you for the tea, Matt, like, so many cups of teas and everything, so nice. Thank you very much, Dan. So I suppose in the meantime, we'll be back again. Well, Tuesday. Tuesday? Yeah. In the meantime, you've got to listen to the rud. So from myself, Matt Lee, and all the team here at KC Live as well, we'll wish you a very good evening, and we'll be back again on Tuesday next week, live.